All right, the time has come. Canelo Alvarez, Gennady Golovkin. Here we go. Okay, look, what I've done is I do what I always do. I went around YouTube and I collected all the best information out there. Talked to people I know, went to my own group, listened to interviews. Now, actually, I just listened to a really good interview that that Abel Sanchez did, and he just did it. The interview is about a day old. It's kind of circulating around. I'm not going to mention where I watched it because it's kind of everywhere, but he revealed a lot in that interview. So, I kind of, like I said, I got a lot of new information, or at least the most that's out there, the most available information to pass on to you guys. Okay, now let's get it going. Now I'm just going to kind of go over a few things that I thought was interesting or worthy of mentioning, like the fact that they knew 10 days before the Canelo Chavez fight that they were putting together a Gennady Golovkin Canelo fight. I'm thinking like, wow. I mean, they just had like no faith whatsoever in Chavez because, like I said, they're working, behind closed doors 10 days prior to the May 6th, Canelo Chavez fight. So I thought that was kind of funny, actually. It's like, damn. I mean, if I was Chavez, I'd be like, really? Like, really? Like, you had just no faith in me? But obviously they were right, okay? Now, the money. Let's get into the money real quick. Now, remember the big debate. People quickly forget the big debate how Golden Boy offered Gennady Golovkin $10 million, and, he's ducking Canelo because he didn't take a flat fee of $10 million, and then it was $15 million, okay? Still didn't take it. Now, the money, Abel Sanchez said, it was more, and they're happy. That's all he said. Because the guy kept asking him, well, was it, did you take the 15 million, and he said, I'll tell you it was more, and we're happy. It was fair. Everything was done right. Meaning, the percentage that they're getting, the pay-per-view upside, the gate sales, like everything was fair. So I liked hearing that Golovkin's not getting ripped off. Because, I mean, could you imagine, what if he would have signed this? What if Golovkin would have signed this fight, months back and had $10 million? Because Oscar De La Hoya is talking about, promoting this thing and blowing this thing up to, Maypac 2, and he's saying it'll be as big or probably bigger than Chavez Canelo. And I believe that. I kind of believe that it will be bigger than Chavez Canelo because that really catered to the Mexican fans. And, this is like a global thing now. When you have Gennady Golovkin and Canelo, it becomes global. So I think, the numbers will be better. So, yeah, I was happy to hear that Golovkin is finally, getting paid what he's worth, really. So now there is a rematch clause. So another interesting thing. So if Golovkin happens to lose the belts, he'll have a chance to get them back in a rematch. So, and then, they were talking about even a possible trilogy. So, I don't think it's going to go down like that. I think, I'm not going to give my prediction yet, but I think, Canelo is in for a shock. He really is, and we'll get into that in a minute. So now venue, okay. Now the venue, they're working on it, but they threw out a few names. Now some of them are pretty far fetched, but the obvious was the Las Vegas, Los Angeles, and then like the United Kingdom, like the UK. I'm like, what, really? So they were talking about maybe like a Wembley Stadium. So I think, hey, that'd be kind of cool actually. And then of course Cowboy Stadium in Texas, Reliant, or the AT&T Stadium. Now, those places like that, they hold 100,000 plus, okay? So, they want to talk about Wembley Stadium, just because of the mass that it'll hold. And Oscar De La Hoya, he did say that he wants it to be, a big stadium fight. So we do know that. So I don't think it's going to be, like a MGM Grand and like that. I really think it'll be, I mean, off the top of my head, I'm kind of thinking, Reliant Stadium, or maybe the T-Mobile Arena again. I don't know. We'll see. But it's going to be a big venue, like a 50,000 plus venue. So I like that. And then I heard in the interview they were talking. Abel Sanchez was talking about the crowd that Canelo brought in for the Canelo Chavez fight. And then he mentioned another fight. Well, he forgot even the James Kirkland fight. I was there. They had 57,000 people in attendance. I mean, nearly 60,000 people in attendance just for Canelo Kirkland. So, I mean, Canelo draws a big crowd. So, like I said, when you mix these two guys together, they need a big ass venue. So, I thought that was very interesting. So, and another thing that he kind of mentioned was, he said, they were talking about Canelo's career, and he said, look, if Gennady Golovkin, if he wasn't around right now, or if he, retired or whatever, Golovkin or Canelo would already be at middleweight. He would already be, either a champion or whatever, exposed, whatever happens at true middleweight. We don't really know yet, but it already would be happened or happened because, so basically saying, all these catch weights and all the bullshit that Canelo does, it all boils back down to Golovkin, and I kind of have to agree, to an extent. I agree with that, especially the past, I'd say 2 years, okay, the Amir Khan, the Liam Smith, all that bullshit, definitely, he was building up to a Golovkin, letting it marinate, duck and dodge, and whatever you want to call it, but it was because of Gennady Golovkin, so, I thought that was really interesting. So now they talked about Canelo's power, okay? And Abel said, look, we're not going to respect Canelo's power. A guy like Lemieux, like David Lemieux, is a better puncher. So I kind of liked hearing that. They said, we're not gonna come out there and pitter pat and have a feel out round or whatever. He said we're coming out and we're going right after Canelo. We're not going to. And he's like, well, of course, we're going to test it. We want to test his power. But at least by round 2, round 3, a fight's going to break out. Gennady Golovkin is going to do the typical cut the ring off and just hunt you down type thing. Your traditional Golovkin, and he said, well, if you look at Canelo's career, I mean, who has he knocked out? A Kirkland, a Glass Chin, Amir Khan, you got some TKOs in there. So if you really think about all the knockouts that Canelo has had, it's really not all that impressive, okay? Really. I mean, just go look at his resume. I don't want to go over it because it make the damn video too long, but, basically he's got Kirkland, Khan, and some TKOs, things like that. So, he's right. And he said that he thinks that, Lemieux is a bigger puncher than Canelo, and I would agree. I would definitely agree, and then they talked about, how Canelo looked in the Chavez fight, and he said what everybody else is saying. I mean, when you have a human punching bag in the ring that's not hitting back, you're going to look great. You're going to look, sensational. He's like, well, let me ask you this. Why didn't Canelo finish him? Right? He goes, if that would have been Gennady Golovkin in there, and he basically, just had a heartbeat in there with boxing gloves, he would have knocked him out. And he's right. I mean, think about that. Think about if that version of Chavez fought Golovkin, okay? Especially in the first, 4 or 5 rounds when Golovkin is fresh, he's getting dropped and probably knocked out. So that's another thing, that, the whole triangle theory, which I'm not a big fan of, but, that was another thing that Abel talked about, that, they're going right after him, and, he said, look, even if it's close, that they would give Canelo a rematch, he said, and that was a question. They said, well, what if, Golovkin wins, like a decision, maybe not a unanimous decision, but a decision, and he said, well, yeah, we would definitely give him an immediate rematch, because he's like, it's a business, and we want to go where the money is. So I kind of like hearing that too. So we might get 2 Canelo fights in a row if Canelo, of course he's got to be up for it. But let's see, what else do we have? Then, they asked him about the Brook fight, okay, and the Jacobs. So, basically, they were saying, do you think, or asking Abel, not do you think, but did you guys, intentionally take it easy on Kell Brook and even Jacobs in order to lure Canelo in? He said, yes, absolutely, we did. He said, I'm not taking anything away from Jacobs or Brook, but especially Jacobs, but, he said, yeah, he goes, I think Golovkin held back at times because there were moments in the fight where things could have happened that didn't happen. That's exactly how he put it, and to lure him in. So, do I believe it? I don't know. We'll see. Kinda. I kinda do because even in that Brook fight, I'm telling you, like, something was off with Golovkin. I mean, you can go back and listen to my videos during that fight, and he just didn't look healthy. He looked green. He looked pale. Something was off. Like they were not getting along. I mean, there's just something going on, in that fight. So, but to this day, I really don't know what it is. So, but yeah, the Canelo Chavez, by the way, all three judges, 120 to 108. I mean, that's incredible. So, Canelo throwing a total. Now check this out, because, we always want to go back and examine the last fight to kind of predict the current fight. Okay, so let's just take a quick look at Chavez, 30 seconds. Okay, Canelo throwing 604 punches, landing 228. Okay, so he landed at about 37%, but that's only like 50 punches around. Okay, so I mean, I don't know what his average is, but that seems, when you have basically just a punching bag in front of you, you're only throwing 40, 50 punches around. It's like, I don't know, especially in the earlier rounds when you're fresh. I don't know. Like I said, I need to go back and look at his numbers, but Chavez, let's see, he threw a total of 302, and I think he landed 71, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking, I just wrote it down earlier. Yeah, wow, like I thought that was a mistake. Okay, so Chavez threw 302 punches in 12 fucking rounds and only landed 71 at a 23.5%. Okay, power punches. Let's see, Canelo 340 landed 145, Chavez 184 landed 56. Now remember, a power punch is anything other than a jab. So, and look, that certainly didn't look like the Andy Lee Chavez I was hoping for. That whole fight, I've heard people say that it was like a disgrace, like he disgraced his family name and this, that, and the other. But I really think Chavez just completely drained, in my honest opinion. I think, they did exactly what they set out to do. They completely drained Chavez and made a bunch of money and basically used that as a platform, to launch into their next big money maker, which is Golovkin Canelo. So, but yeah, that's about all I have. I'm not going to babble on too long, but like I said, they do have a rematch clause. Gennady Golovkin is getting paid more, a significant amount more than he would have gotten if he would have agreed to the original offer. So, congrats to them, because I mean, look, there's a lot of people out there just saying, take it, take it, take it. So I guess, the holding out paid off. Okay, and as far as the venue goes, we're not sure yet. And actually, I'm gonna try to get an interview with Abel. I think I can, but I'm gonna try, especially now if they're not in camp just yet. Abel's off; he's chilling. I'm gonna try to get a phone interview with him. I don't know, probably, I don't know, by like the end of the month. So I definitely get that up on the channel if I can. And like I said, if the fight is anywhere in Texas or I'll cover it, like heavily cover it. But if it's somewhere far, I might go out there just for like a night or two, maybe just like fight night, But so anyway, yeah, that's about all I have. Let me look here and make sure I'm not leaving anything out. So I took down a few notes, but yeah, like I said, that's about it. But look, I'm excited for the fight. I can't wait. I mean, I think, this is like, if you look at it, we had the Anthony Joshua Klitschko, great fight. It was great for boxing. And then you kind of had the Canelo Chavez that kind of killed it again. And then the whole Mayweather Pacquiao that killed it. So it's kind of like we're 1-3 right now. Okay, we got one good and two bad. So we really need a good fight to kind of bring, just boxing back into the spotlight. And, I'll probably make another video too talking about, the reaction that I'm getting from all the fans out there about the Canelo Chavez fight, because, I talk to people about boxing all day long, so, I'll tell you what the general public thinks. So anyway, guys, like, share, subscribe, drop a comment. Remember May 23rd or around that time, we're going to be getting the studio put together and bring you guys some awesome things on the channel. So thanks for watching. Have a good night, guys.